Hello and welcome to this video in which we shall discuss the domain and range of inverse functions graphically. We are required to state the domain and range of the function represented by the graph below and determine if it's invertible, then fill in the sentence for the best possible justification. If the function is invertible, state the domain and range of its inverse. So first of all, the domain here goes from negative infinity to positive infinity because it goes all the way to the left and all the way to the right. So the domain is just x belongs to R, all real numbers. Now for the range, we see that the function never falls below this line. So for the range, we can say -2 to infinity. Now, does this pass the horizontal line test or not? Of course, this does not pass the horizontal line test because it cuts twice. This means it is not one-to-one. So it is not inverted. The domain is all real numbers. I'm going to use that button here. The range is this here, so -2 and infinity. This function is not invertible because it does not pass the horizontal line test. In other words, at least two inputs are mapped to the same output. And if you want to get it from the graph, any horizontal line here, like this one, for example, has the same output, which is 3, for two different inputs, which are these two, -3.5 and +3.5. So these are two different inputs mapping onto the same output. Therefore, it's not one-to-one. Therefore, it is not inverted. So here I need to put an example. So at least two inputs are mapped to the same output, y equals any value within the range is fine. So for example, the one I already did was this line. So y equals 3 can be written here as an example. Let's try another one. So here, the domain goes from this point here all the way up. So from -2 and -5. So the domain goes from -2 to infinity, and the range goes from -5 to infinity. Now this one is invertible because the horizontal line test is passed. Each horizontal line will cut only once. So let's write these down. So I have this here, -2, comma, infinity. And here we have -5 and infinity. So -5 and infinity. And the function is invertible because it passes the horizontal line test. In other words, no inputs are mapped to the same output. Now, how do I get the domain and range of the inverse? I simply flip them. So the new domain will be -5 and infinity, and the new range will be -2 and infinity. You can just copy paste them even like this. This goes here, and this goes over there, and you're done. Let's try a third one. So this is same as the previous question. We have this point here, so -5 for the x and +3 for the y. So and it goes to positive infinity in x and y. So the domain would be -5 infinity. The range would be 3 and infinity. This is invertible because it passes the horizontal line test. And then the new domain becomes 3 and infinity. And the new range becomes -5 and infinity. The domain becomes the range, and the range becomes the domain. Let's write these down. So the old domain is -5 and infinity. The old range is 3 and infinity. The function is invertible because it passes the horizontal line test. In other words, no two inputs are mapped to the same output. And then the domain of the inverse is the range of the original. So we put this here. And the range is the old domain. So we put this over there. And we're done. So this brings us to the end of our video. I hope this has been beneficial. Thank you for watching.